Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a long time since I've done anime on my channel, so I want to go ahead and jump right into My Hero Academy, the tournament arc. Now, if you haven't seen My Hero Academy, this is a definite must watch. I definitely recommend this series. It's on par on taking the spot of Naruto and Bleach, as in it's going to be one of the most popular animes, I believe, to come out. So let me go ahead and get straight into it. The first few episodes of this season and the beginning of this arc, it starts off with them being introduced to the tournament, and it's more of like a cool down of what happened, because they do like a little small recap of what happened in the first season. With them fighting the villains and being actual survivors. Now, in between the break time, All Might gets to talk to Deku, and he tells Deku basically, this is your time to shine. When you come out to this tournament, I want you to give everything, and I want you to be like, I am All Might's replacement. Hear me roar kind of thing going. And this scene is pretty great because you kind of see him showing like the importance of this tournament and letting him know that, hey, there's going to be a lot of heroes, and this is really your first introduction into the world. So make it great. Make it loud. Once Deku gets back to class and it's time for them to leave again, the doorway is blocked. It's full of people from other classes. You have people from 1B, you have people from general studies, business, and support class just blocking. Trying to see 1A. What's the big deal with 1A? These people survived a villain attack. You know what I mean? And some of them actually fought on par with the villain attack. Are they special? How special are they? Things like that. And Bakura is the first one to come out and say, hey, move out my way. You guys are nothing but extras. It doesn't matter who you guys are. Well, I'm gonna win anyway. And he kind of makes him seem very arrogant. And the other classmates that they have are telling them to chill out, don't be so arrogant. And then the other classes are looking at them like, oh, they're just a bunch of assholes, or people who stuck up guys who think they're better than everybody else. But then a guy from general studies, purple hair, purple eyes, he gets to come out and say, hey, this is our chance to take your spot. This is our chance to shine. And if you don't bring your A game, we're taking your spot, and you're gonna get kicked out, and you're gonna become general studies, and we're gonna be able to become hero. Take your spot. And then right after this episode, they do a quick training montage. It's like 3 minutes, and it shows like everybody from 1A training, and then they go straight into the tournament, people getting geared up. And right before the tournament starts, they want the class 1A rep to talk, and for some reason it's Bakuro. So Bakuro gets on the stage, and he's supposed to say some words of encouragement, and he comes out and he says, I'm gonna win, which again puts a target on class 1A. It makes everybody boo Bakugo, and everybody's now focused on taking out class 1A. They announced the first tournament games, and it's an obstacle course. They don't say exactly how many people are going to pass on, but we only know that the top few are. So right off the back, in the obstacle course, Todoroki starts off by freezing anybody that he can, because there's no rules in the tournament. So he freezes the ground, freezes anybody he can, get them stuck to the ground. Now 1A, I believe, is used to Todoroki doing that. They've seen him in practices, so they've already dodged it. And Todoroki's in the lead, but class 1A, the rest of class 1A is right behind them. There are a few obstacles in the way. One giant robot from the entrance exams, and then there are like an area where like you have to climb, or like a big gap where you have to go through. Todoroki passes that easily, and then you get to see some of 1A trying to get through it, and some of the other classes are also right behind 1A or with 1A, getting through these main obstacles. With the main part of this obstacle course, and the main thing that made the show really great was at the very end. At the very end, we had Todoroki and Bakugo neck and neck. Bakugo using his explosions as jets and propelling himself forward. He catches up with Todoroki, and he is trying to swing at him. He's telling him that, "Hey, I'm the guy you need to look out for." Deku is, because earlier, before the tournament started, Todoroki came to Deku and said, I'm gonna be number one," and completely ignore Bakugo. So we have this intense fight where they're slowing each other down, but they're fighting at the same time. And while all this is going on, the rest of the classes are slowly catching up with them. They're over the minefield, and they're passing it with no problems at all. But they're fighting each other at the same time. Deku is trying to keep up with them. He's catching up, and the rest of the students are at the minefield. They're in the very back of the minefield, while Todoroki and Bakugan are like towards the middle, almost close to the end. Now, Deku Midoriya, he's really strategical. So while he's looking at that, he's like, "What's the smartest way I can do this?" So while everybody is running, he's like, he grabs a piece of machine from the machines before, and he digs up all the mines, and he digs up a good, I want to say 12, and he stacks them all together, and then he puts the shield on top of the mines, letting them explode and propel them forward. So while Todoroki and Bakugan are like running forward and fighting at the same time, Midoriya comes out of nowhere, just propels right in front of them, and Todoroki and Midoriya realize, like, fuck, we need to focus on the game. We need to finish this race. We need to beat Midoriya, and Midoriya is losing speed as he's going. It doesn't look like he's gonna make it across the finish line, but with like last second thinking, he while he's still holding on to the shield, he looks down and he does like a front flip and slams the shield onto the ground and hitting a mine, and propelling himself forward again to win the race. This was a really epic moment. It reminds me of the whole Naruto scene where Kakashi is stuck in the water prison, and they throw the shuriken, but then the shuriken was really Naruto, who throws another shuriken and gets the opposite to drop the water prison, so Kakashi can come out and fight. But quickly after that, we learn. So a lot of 1A students made it past, and we learned that only 42 students, the first 42 students who won the obstacle race, move on to the next round, which was a lot of 1A students, and there were a few 1B general studies people who were on the edge. Like, so they chose not to go all out. They chose to go towards the back just so they can look out and check out everybody else's skills, which is a smart plan. It's just, no, they never said how many who were advancing. So at the same time, it was a bad strategy, because I'm guessing some of them didn't make it, and some of them that didn't go all out, because they didn't go all out, so they didn't really make it. But before I go on a tangent, let's go ahead and straight into the next round. Next round, we find out that they're doing the cavalry battle. Now, if you've watched anime before, you know what a cavalry battle is. Let me go ahead and just explain it. Cavalry battle is basically a group of people holding one person, and that one person usually generally has a headband, and your goal are to take headbands from off other players' heads and also defend yours, and the person who has the most headbands at the end wins. But this one had a small twist. This one, there's a point system based off of how well you placed in the obstacle course before. So if you place 42nd place, you were worth about 10 points, and if you place second place, you were worth about 210, I believe, or 205. Can't remember exactly. But first place was 10 million points. So when you're building your team, you had to think of how you want to play, and you had to think of who matched well with you on top of how much points together you guys made. So right off the back, if you were first place, no matter who you matched up with, you would have to defend your headband to win. Like, all you needed to do was to defend your headband. But on the grand scheme of things, everybody's coming for 10 million points because they know if they take the 10 million points, they automatically win. Um, and then there was other groups that when they grouped up, they decided, hey, while everybody's taking the 10 million, try to go for the 10 million points. We're gonna snatch up all all the smaller headbands, and then try to rack up points that way, because they're not going to be focused on us, they're going to be focused on the 10 million points. All these strategies that were thought up and things like that, Deku himself was, of course, in his own head trying to make up strategies and things like that. But he didn't notice that everybody was matching up, and a lot of people didn't want to match up with him. In fact, he actually went to Ida, and Ida turned him down and said, "No, I don't want to be a part of your team. I want to actually take you down to make sure that I show that I'm number one. I have something to prove myself." But Deku did end up finding a squad. It was Uraraka, who she came to him, and it was also a new person named Hatsume. Hatsume actually came up to him because she was so impressed that he was first place, and she believed that her gadgets, because she was part of the support class, will do well with whatever team that he was using, and what could be really useful in the defense. And you could tell right off the back how colorful her character was, in that what she was about was basically about money and showing off her techs, and she was pretty much a genius. And the last guy that they showed was Takayami. Takayami has not been very broadcast. Like, we didn't get too much information over about him during the whole first season, and this tournament was actually a place for Takayami to shine a lot. But right into the cavalry battle, it was a really good fight. Seeing all the teams working together, seeing Baraka basically using his propellers and flying around, even though he wasn't with his group anymore, but he wasn't touching the ground, and they were able to catch him, and he was able to take over and fly, and all this other cool shit that was happening during the whole fight scene. We got to see a lot of real cool combinations, and Tokiyami was, like I said, he was really shining for Deku's team. Deku pretty much on top. He really didn't do much toward until the end, but the whole time it was more of the support classes, machines, Toriyami blocking with his ghost, and you got to see a lot of his powers, and Uraraki using her light ability, making them light, making them able to hop around for a good time. But and they were able to defend pretty much towards the end until Ida and Todoroki actually cornered them with the ice, and then Ida busted out a brand new move which he had to learn, over the summer during his montage, or whenever the small break was, and he used a supersonic jet move to close the distance, and they were able to take the 10 million points off of Deku. But at the same time, Deku rushed them back, and he threw a smash without breaking his arm, and Tokoyami was able to snatch a headband on top of um, Midoriya being able to snatch a headband. They didn't get the 10 million points back, but they were able to get enough points to stay in the game. Todoroki and Ida ended up winning first place in that round, and then a lot of people were eliminated at the end, and then we went into the 1v1s, the actual tournament of the game. Now, at the beginning of the tournament, Ojiro, he decides to back out of the tournament. He says that he can't remember why he can't remember the second round at all, and he doesn't feel like he should be there. Now, later on, we find out that it is actually mind control from the actual purple eye guy named Shinso. We find out that Shinso has mind controlling abilities, and if you ask one question, or if you answer a question, then you're under his control. Um, and Shinzo is Deku's first opponent. Ojiro warns him not to talk to him and actually stops him from talking to him. And they come up with a plan, just don't talk to him, just fight him straight up. And at the beginning of the first round, first match, it's Deku versus Ojiro. Shinzo, I mean. He gets him because in the very beginning he talks shit about Ojiro, how Ojiro doesn't worth it. It wasn't worth it being here because he just quit like that, and Deku falls straight for his trap. He's like, "Don't you talk about Ojiro like that?" And bam, he's under his control. And the guy tells him, Shinso tells him to walk straight out of the road, out of the ring, and right before he's walking out of the ring, everyone in All Might, in the All Might, all their DNA, I guess they talk out to Deku and they get him to give control to him, at least in his finger. And he does a smash in his finger. And I believe the pain from the smash and just the shock of it wakes him out of it, and he goes and fights Shinso in a 1v1 battle. And because Deku has more experience in fighting, he's able to beat Shinso very easily. Now, while Deku is healing, and I believe they're fixing the stage, we see Todoroki meet up with his father, Endeavor, and we find out that Endeavor is an asshole, and he's all fire. And we find out that he actually bought Todoroki's mom, and forced her to have sex with him so that he can make a perfect child to defeat All Might. Fucked up, right? But now we understand why Todoroki, if you ever watch, Todoroki only uses his ice abilities, and the only time he uses his flame is to unmute the enemy or friendly. So now it's the second round. It's Todoroki versus Hanada Zero, and Zero has the ability. He has tape from his elbows, and he goes out hard. He tries to knock him out fast. He tries to take him off guard. He instantly tapes Todoroki, and then tries to throw him out of bounds. But Todoroki just freezes the opposite side of the stage, half of the stage. He just completely freezes it. It almost goes into the crowd. It creates a big earthquake, and it completely just freezes him. It immobilizes him, and it makes him the winner. Now, inspired by, I guess, the last match, the third round ends quickly just as well. Dinky thinks he can just go and use up all his electricity right off the back, and Shiozaki uses her thorn hair just to block it, and Dinky's weakness is if he uses a lot of electricity, he becomes dumb, and this makes it very easy for her to just eliminate him. Now, the fourth match was a really funny match because it was Ida versus Hatsumi. Hatsumi, being from the support clash, she goes up to Ida right before the match and she says, "Hey, I want you to use some of this gear, just some good fade, things like that." She's like, "It'll help show off my gear, things like that." And Trust and Ida's like, "Yeah, I'll wear your gear." And they get into the ring, and she has basically full control of him. She's able to make him move up and down, left and right, and she's also showing off the gear that she's wearing. So she's just showing off a whole bunch of gear that she invented, and she's knowing that in the crowd there are people who are willing to buy or invest into her gear and stuff like that. So she's just out there just promoting her gear, and as soon as she finishes promoting her gear, she goes and she just eliminates herself. She just steps out of bounds because she did her job. She, now she's got to sit back and wait for people to call back and rack up that money. The fifth and sixth matches go by really fast. The fifth match is Mina versus Uruguay, the dude with the belly button, and the snail girl. Snail girl knows dude with the belly button's weakness, so she's just dodging him, and waiting for him to do a long strike beam. And the moment he does a long beam, she slides up close to him, throws acid at his belt, melts his belt off, making him drop his pants. He goes to bend down to grab it, and she slides right up on him. Sure, you can upcuts the shit out of him. And then there was Tokoyami versus Momo, which I didn't really expect it to go down this way. Momo was very gifted, and by the time she was able to create a sword and a shield, Tokoyami pushed her out with the Dark Shadow. Now the next match was Steel versus Rock, Kirishima versus Tetsu, and it was really hilarious match. They ended up in a draw, doing the same moves. They had the same intro. They were pretty much a clone of each other, and they made a joke about it. Now they say that he's Rock, but they never really say that in the series. They just say that he gets really hard. So he must be, as he gets as hard as Steel, so, and that caused him to tie it up. Now, Ukaraki versus Brocker, by far the best fight in the first round, by far. Ukaraki, who had offers from Deku about strategies and things like that, and she said, "No, I got this. I'm actually gonna do this all on my own. I'm gonna give it my all." And Brocker, right off the gate, just goes and he starts blasting away. He will not let her get close because he knows that if she gets close, she can make him lighter, and like with one touch, she can make him lighter, and by then he doesn't know what she can do with him. She can, make him float off and never come back, to the ground, or anything like that. So he doesn't give her a chance at all. He constantly blasts at her anytime she gets close, and she's taking these blasts and she's continuously trying to get close to him. But after a while, we can see the wear and tear. But the one thing that we're not noticing, not even the crowd is calling Gun a villain, a punk, and I don't understand why, because he's giving it his all. He's doing everything he can to win this tournament, and even though it seems like he's bullying, she's in the tournament with him, giving her all, even though it looks one-sided. But once we look up, we notice that Uraku's actually been setting up this whole time, as he's been blasting and making big debris around him. She's been touching all the debris, and we look up and there is tons full of rocks and stones that are in the sky above Baraka, and they're coming down, crashing, and about to hit him. And at the very last second, Baraka goes and he blasts the sky, and he destroys all of the rocks, just showing how much power Baraka Go has. And it shows that Uraraka had a very clever strategy that nobody saw coming, and if Baraka didn't see it at the last second, he would have definitely been out. But she totally gave it her all. She did everything she could, and she used up all her energy. And right after that, we could tell that she was out. She knocked out. She gave it her all, though. She crawled and tried to fight him, but there's nothing she can do. And right from there, right from the best fight of the first round, we go into the best fight of the second round, Deku versus Todoroki. Now, right before the fight, Todoroki and Deku have a conversation. They conversate. They talk about why Todoroki only uses one side, and how he wants to know. He picks Deku's mind. He's like, "How are you close to All Might? Are you All Might's son? And if you are, or if you are his replacement, that I'm actually here to become number one hero. I was born to do it, and I'm actually just doing it for myself. I'm gonna be number one, and I'm actually do it without using the fire side, without my dad's help." and we kind of see his motivation there. We understand where he's coming from, but then when they actually get into the ring and they fight, he goes all out with his ice. He tries to freeze Deku, and Deku's not having it. He's using All Might's All for One. He's going all out. He's stopping it. He's using each of his fingers, but he's taking damage the whole time that he's doing it, and he's letting Todoroki know that, hey, you know, you're not gonna get me with your freeze powers. In fact, you have to go all out to fight me. And he tells him that he's like, you actually, even though I look fucked up, you've actually done no damage to me. And whatchamacallit, you're not gonna be able to beat me. You're not gonna be able to come out to this tournament and only be use 50% of all your power when everybody else is out here, like Uraraki and Bakuga is out here giving it their all. You're not just gonna come out here and give us 50% and just beat us. And he actually forces Todoroki to use his flame side as they charge at each other at the last, using all of their powers. Now the teachers interrupt the match, and the dude who creates concrete made 5 concrete walls in the middle, and the head midnight chick who she goes and she uses her gas. Her gas makes people pass out, and we can only assume that Deku got hit with the gas, because he's the only one at the end that is passed out and actually out of bounds. I can say that I feel like if there wasn't any teacher interference, that there's a chance that either they would have both tied, they would have both been knocked out, because Deku's punch had to go through 5 cement walls to actually reach Todoroki, and the actually impact from the wind bouncing off the walls actually helped push him back. On top of the gas, most likely knocked him out. But at the end, Deku is knocked out of the tournament, and Todoroki barely stays in the ring with his ice stopping him, but with more impact. And we know that All Might would have definitely, the power of All Might would have definitely knocked him out. But what happens. Todoroki advances, and then we go to the next match. Now, Rock can still have their tiebreaker. They have the arm wrestling match to tiebreak, and Kirishima wins from Class 1A. The doctor tells Deku that if you ever put your body through this much stress again, actually, no, I'm not going to heal you at all anymore. You need to figure out how to use this power and, not to hurt yourself anymore. And this seems like a setup for the next season, and him focusing on learning how to control it. The next match is Shiozaki versus Ida. Ida easily beats her by just using his power, speed, and pushing her straight out. Then there was Tokiyami versus Shira. This match also went by fast. He was able to use his shadow just to use strong attacks and push her out. Same for Bakugo versus Katsumi. Katsumi had the perfect defense. He could withstand his blast, but the thing that was very taxing on Kasami was actually hardening his whole body, and that because he didn't know where Bakugo was attacking from, he hardened his whole body and used up a lot of his strength early, and Bakugo was able to outlast him and slowly weaken him until he wasn't able to use his quirk anymore, and then it was game over. Now we're in the semifinals. It's Ida versus Todoroki. Now this match started off quickly with Todoroki boxing in Ida and basically eliminate him being able to move left and right and leaving the middle wide open, and he throws the last ice beam down the middle. Ida actually jumps over it and lands a super hard kick on Todoroki. Now, while Todoroki is hit, he grabs Todoroki, grabs him, and runs for out of bounds to toss him out. Ida doesn't notice that Todoroki froze his ice jets while he kicked them, and because of that, he's able to just now freeze his whole body, ending him, unable to move, and letting Todoroki move on to the finals. The next match was Tokiyami versus Bakugo. Bakugo had this match won only because he was the weakness to Tokiyami and his shadow. All he needed to do was let out a bright light and then attack him. The shadow could not. There can't be any shadow and any light, so he used the natural weakness. So he's able to defeat him easily. Now we're at the final round, Todoroki versus Bakugo. And this match, before the match started, Bakugo actually walks into his dressing room, and by mistake he walks into there, but he's like, while I'm in here, let me let you know that you need to fight me with 100%. You need to use your flame size. You need to do exactly what you did with Deku to me, because when I win this tournament, I want to be the undisputed champion. And he lets him know that as he walks away, and then they get into the fighting. And but before I say the fighting, we noticed that in the rounds after Deku, he doesn't use any flames, so I guess this is why he emphasized it at the beginning. But all right, so in the fight, this fight starts off with Todoroki going using up a huge amount of power on ice and just freezing up the other side, just like he did in the first round. But Bakugo is not a scrub, so he ends up blasting his way down the center, kind of like a little mole or something, digging a hole through. And then once he gets through, he propels himself straight at Todoroki, and then dodges to his left side to where his flames are and grabs him from the flames, kind of forcing him, saying, use your flames. And he grabs him and he throws him, and Todoroki is headed out of bounds, but he uses an ice pillar to surf and to get around back to Bakugo, where Bakugo goes for his left side again, and Tokiyami grabs him with the left side. It looks like he's about to use his flame. That's when his dad yells out, "That's right, use your flames!" And instead of using his flames, he ends up throwing him instead, which pisses off Bakugo, because he's like, if you're not gonna use power, if you're not gonna fight me like you fought Deku, then why are you even in this tournament? And then he goes at him with a brand new attack, where he jumps where he prepares himself in the sky, and then he spins around in a circle, creating a strong wind, and comes straight at him and hits him with a fire blast. Todoroki tries to block with ice, but the way he was propelled is just too strong, too fast, and actually blasts him out of the ring, knocking him out. And Bakugo's not happy though, so Bakugo runs up to his unconscious body, picks him up, and yells at him, "Why didn't you fight me? Why didn't you fight me with your flames? Why didn't you do it?" And the teachers run at him and restrain him and tie him up, and he is declared the winner. They put him on this pedestal and they tie him up. He has a muzzle on. He's at number 1 spot. Todoroki's at number 2, and Tokiyami is at number 3, because Ida has to leave because of a family emergency. And just like Bakugo, we are all disappointed, because I feel like Bakugo had plans. He had strategy against Todoroki and his flame side, not only his ice side and his flame side. And I feel like that Todoroki is low-key a counter to his flame side, because his sweat is nitroglycerin. So maybe he was getting up close and he was grabbing that left side, because the moment the dude started his flames, that it would spark up and blow up and backfire, maybe even hit both of them. I felt like he had some kind of plans, and also wanted to see with the wind tornado attack that he used, the wind probably counteracts his flames anyway. So we really didn't get to see all the different possibilities or different outcomes. A lot of people say Todoroki would have won if he used flames. I don't know. But you guys, let me know how you guys feel about the whole tournament, your thoughts, any questions, anything that I didn't cover, or anything you want me to talk about. Drop that shit down, drop it down below in the comments, like, subscribe, and this is a very long video, but thank you for watching if you made it to this part. And let me know how you guys feel.